Thank you for the elaborate introduction, Vishal. So I think I just want to have a very not so very formal kind of a conversation here. I just want to remind all of us of the things that have been happening in our country. And I also want to, try and elaborate on the things that we should all do as part of DEI teams, as part of a society that we all live together in, right? So my name is Ratnaprabha Sable, and I am wearing a pink blazer. I'm wearing a white pant, and these are formal outfits that I'm actually, it's like a formal outfit that I'm actually wearing. And about me, so as you've already seen, you've seen that I head this organization as such, and from my point of view, if you look at it, when I started back in 2018, that is when we started this journey as Vividhita. And back then, when we started approaching organizations saying we're an inclusive hiring organization and we can help you hire people from different types of marginalized communities, they kept saying to us that, hey, you know what, we're already very diverse. We have a lot of women working with us. We have a lot of men working with us. They're all from very different backgrounds and whatnot, right? But, and from that journey, we've now come here where every single day, my team works towards answering queries from employers who want to, proactively hire from the different communities and cohorts that we cater to, which includes women, persons with disabilities, LGBTQIA+ communities, community veterans, acid attack survivors, people from socio-economically marginalized communities. So there's a lot that we are actually doing with all of these cohorts, not only from the employment point of view, but also from making sure that organizations are sensitized and are accessible to all individuals of different such marginalized backgrounds, right? And I say the word marginalized, but I think the more more relevant word here would be oppressed, because they are oppressed because we have oppressed them, right? We are the ones who did not give them accessible spaces, who were not inclusive towards them. The education was not accessible, or even today, in fact, in some states, I would say, it's still not accessible to so many people who are, from different types of marginalized backgrounds or oppressed backgrounds, right? So it's not just education, it's also a lot of other spaces, public spaces for that matter, where access itself is so difficult for so many different communities that we cater to, right? So that's one. So other than this, I think some of the things that I wanted to also discuss is some things, that have been happening in our country have really stirred me, like, for example, the climate fast that's happening and it not getting the attention that it should be, right? Climate, I think, is important for all of us. There have been so many cases which I would say there are students, there are individuals who died by suicide because they were discriminated. They were, in school, in college, they were bullied and they died by suicide, right? And I might want to put a trigger here, trigger warning here. There are people who have been caste oppressed. They have been bullied. They have been told that, you were never good enough to be in this college, right? So why should anyone who's a human be facing this kind of discrimination in any spaces, be it public spaces, be it educational spaces, be it politics for that matter. So I also, another thing that I really believe in is that if representation comes in a manner that it is required, things can change. While that's not the only way by which things can change, people have to be sensitized, people have to be educated, and that's when, when representation starts coming. Like, for example, a lot of employers come to us and say, hey, we want to hire from the persons with disability community or from the LGBT community, and, even women for that matter. But if their workplace is not accessible, bringing such individuals on board will be a complete, it will backfire. And in fact, this is something that we keep telling our employers as well, that make your workplaces more inclusive, make them more accessible to all individuals of different backgrounds and different communities as such, right? Another thing that I want to also mention here. So I'm a woman, right? And I identify as a woman, and my pronouns are she, her. And so when I look at it, look at this entire inclusion thing from a very social justice point of view, it really, it really brings one thought to my mind that, you know what, women have been fighting for their rights for ages. Literally, I would say that, and even in families, my mother was maybe, fighting for some of the rights that she did not get. My grandmother was also fighting for some rights which she did not get. And there are these stories of women fighting for their rights and, like a freedom movement as such for women, which has been there for ages, like in different countries. Globally, these have been happening. But yet today I stand here after so many generations, and I still think that I need to do something in this space. And I'm sure a lot of women here, as well as a lot of women who are listening to this conversation, in our live session, etc., would be thinking so as well. Why do we still have to, speak in this space? So when is anything going to change, right? While there has been some change, no one's denying that, right? But I know as a matter of fact that if you go down to, say, a little bit of a rural sector or some other states where inclusion hasn't really happened, you would realize that it's still the same, right? Women have to, they don't have access to simple things, even at home sometimes. I'm on my period today. And how uncomfortable does that make you, right? I know one girl who used to work with me just very recently, I think 2 months ago or something. And she mentioned to me, and I'm not going to name the person. So she mentioned to me, when I'm on my period, nobody allows me, in my house, nobody even allows me to touch the utensils. I am told to sit in a separate room, and I'm absolutely in a separate section of the house altogether. I'm not supposed to touch the mandir and so on and so forth. While I think this is my opinion, of course, and I think it's very regressive, right? So when are these things going to change? And while all of us can, discuss about such kind of challenges and issues which are faced by women, which are faced by people with disabilities, people from the LGBTQIA plus community, all of us need to realize that at some point in time, if we don't do anything and we don't take things in our hands, things aren't going to change, right? And each one of us, if we are at least going to put, it's like that when if there's a rock and a wave keeps splashing on the rock every single day, the rock is going to corrode, right? And the rock is going to, break at some point in time. So I think that is very, very important. Every one of us should do that one bit from our side to make sure that we make not only workplaces, but public spaces equitable, right? Social justice is something that we should be now discussing rather than just diversity, equity, inclusion as organizations, right? While I think there's a lot of organizations who already work in the CSR space as such. And I think I remember from some time back when CSR used to be the only way by which persons with disability will get hired, or the only way by which transgender individuals will get hired. So I think we need to move above and beyond that. And we've got to make sure that we're mainstreaming individuals from different types of marginalized communities. We're creating workplaces which are inclusive, which are accepting of the different communities and cohorts that you want to hire, right? So these are, just a few things that I want to, make sure that everyone here understands. And thank you everyone, whoever is here, and everyone who is online watching us. And most importantly, all the very best to all the candidates who are here as well as virtually. I think we already have more than 200 people in the candidates zone, even in the virtual interview rooms. And so all the best to all of you. Be yourself. Don't let anyone who tries to put you down deter your enthusiasm, right? So just be yourself, be the way you are, and that's something that maybe will teach those interviewers how they should be interacting with you, right? So all the best to all the candidates, and thank you all the employers for trusting us in this journey. Thank you, Team HSBC. Thank you, Team Kohler, Team Technic, and Team Capgemini. Thank you so much for being here. And all the very best to all of you as well. And I hope you interview a lot of candidates, and I hope you are able to shortlist and hire a lot of them, right? Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much.